Busy Saturday, one match still in progress, another match which we are looking ahead to, and that is the battle of two Kolkata-based teams. Yes, two teams with Kolkata-based, technically, if you look at the ownership, one's ownership is probably out of Mumbai, the other out of Kolkata, but essentially the franchises are Lucknow and Kolkata. And for one, much more crucial than the other to pick up a couple of points. They're the franchise who have won the toss, Kolkata, and have asked KL Rahul and company to bat first. Lucknow looking good on the table. Kolkata with every match now a must-win. Here we are in this crossover section between one match and another on Cricbuzz Live with, in the studio, Lisa Sthalekar, Shaun Pollock. Shaun, of course, we will at some point talk about what's happened between Rajasthan and Punjab. But looking ahead to this, Kolkata desperate for 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, it could be as close as do or die. It could be a case in point. If they lose this game today, they're done. And that's how important it is. I mean, you never know what exactly is going to be the points that qualify, but you would feel that sitting on 8 points after 10 games, I mean, if they win all four, they end up on 16. I don't think that's going to be enough. So for me, it's they're not the best net run rate either at 0.06. Whereas Lucknow, I mean, their net run rate, I've told you, if you get to 16 and you've got a decent net run rate, I'm giving you a cube.
Oh, the 16 number. Dear, oh dear, Lisa. That is turning out to be a magic number. At the start of the day, in case you didn't watch our show, we had scenarios.com playing out with Shaun Pollock saying Gujarat are on 16 with a healthy net run rate. Even if they lose all the other games, they still have a little unofficial Q on their shoulder. But that's another point to discuss. What we do know is that Lucknow are looking a little more comfortable on that table. They can still afford the odd loss here and there. But teams are already starting to think 1 and 2, aren't they, Lisa?
Yeah, 1 and 2 is so crucial in the IPL. You get a second bite at the cherry. Just gives you that freedom potentially. If things don't quite go well in the first final, that you can come back again and play the winner of 3 and 4. And also, as you're building up to the finals, you want to have this feeling of, okay, everything's ticking along nicely. Yeah, it's all well and good to get out of the blocks early and get a lot of points. But the real issue is for them is that they can't afford to start losing at the back end. And we're seeing a lot of teams actually struggling at the back end, which is not the ideal situation.
Certainly isn't. In terms of team personnel, we've got changes on both sides. Probably the one in Kolkata is a forced change because it's one of their key bowlers up front in Umesh Yadav, who's pulled up a little bit of a niggle just moments before the toss. And young Harshit Rana has been forced into the side, Shaun. That could be potentially huge for them because Umesh was picking up wickets up front regularly.
Yeah, it's a massive blow. I mean, he's on that the top 5 performers of the tournament, isn't he? With regards to how many points they gather, he's been sensational for them. So that's a major disappointment. It's dot balls, it's economy, it's wickets. He's done it all this season for them. So that is a huge blow, and hopefully it would just be this game where they can get through, and then he would be back.
On the other side, again, it's an entry of someone who, like Umesh Yadav, has been so impactful. Perhaps not as much this season, not as spectacular, but nonetheless an impact player in Avesh Khan. And I think the flip side of the loss of Umesh for Lucknow would be the gain of Avesh.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Lucknow will be very happy to services of Avesh Khan, simply because, just the way that he steams in and bowls well, and with Mohsin Khan as well, they've actually formed a great partnership with all of their seam bowlers, Chamira, Holder as well. So that's going to be really important. And I think the way that he finishes at the death is so crucial. And we've seen that if bowlers are really struggling at the death and they leak plenty of runs, it really does put them at a disadvantage. But Avesh Khan has been excellent for Lucknow in that phase of the game.
And I think the real bonus you'd have to say to lend them balance, Shaun, is the ability for them to have kept a Mohsin Khan in. Remember when Avesh Khan got injured and you were thinking, if you want to get somebody in, what do you do? Mohsin Khan stayed in when Avesh came back. Then they got in Cricbuzz Gautam because, again, he had a bit of a niggle. So they do have enough bench strength there to be able to get in a replacement quickly.
Yeah, when Avesh comes back in, then you do say bench strength. I mean, I remember him coming back for the last time and Mohsin bowling much better than him. And at the end of the chat, I said I would actually keep him in, and I wish I would ask to rest for another game. So he's had some more time to recover and think about things, and they'll be looking for a big performance. I mean, you can't take away from how good he was last season. His performance he put for Delhi was brilliant. So he's got to just try and breathe off that kind of performance and try and remember back to those kind of dendrites and feelings, and then get out there and do a good job for them today.
The other thing that's working in their favor, and this is a little graphic we showed you at the start of the day, of teams having second half troubles. Well, scratch that when it comes to Lucknow, because every team has an L against their name in the second half, except the Lucknow Super Giants, Lisa. www, they could start a website of their own, and this is exactly how they'd like to be in the second half.
Yeah, and I mentioned that as well, isn't it? It's so important at the back end when you're going into finals. Lucknow, you can see that they started the first 7 games were excellent. 4 off 3. The 2 debutants coming out of the blocks hard. Then just things got changed slightly in the middle. And the good thing for Lucknow is that they've got this formula that they've seemed to figure out, not only in the first half, but also the second half as well.
Yeah, and form does matter. Talk about business half, whether you use the forbidden M word, Shaun, whichever way it is. If you want to get on a roll and you had to pick a time to do it, this is probably a very good time to do it leading up to the playoffs.
Yeah, and the way they've gone about it has actually been quite calculated. I was having a look at the 6-hitting list for the teams. Rajasthan are back up to like 100, I think they've got, whereas Lucknow's only in at 69 or something like that, but they've still managed to pull off that many wins. So it hasn't been brute force and ignorance. It's been calculated game plans. Rahul's been sensational for them at the top, and they're just going about their business and pretty clear about what they want to do. So yeah, they've had a good second half in particular, and that's often when you stumble on your best combinations, and if they can keep those guys confident and performing well, that's good signs for them.
Yeah, if you were to refer to brute force, you'd probably think of somebody like Marcus Stoinis as being that kind of a 6-hitter. The guys who have been doing the job for them, Lisa, so far, the silky smooth KL Rahul, who you would probably, he does hit sixes, but he's more of a boundary hitter, even Quinton de Kock to that extent.
Yeah, no, both of those two go about their business quite easily, but Stoinis is the one that they're still waiting to really be unleashed. And if you look at where he's batted, I remember the first game I'm there going, 8? Are you serious? Get him up there a little bit higher. Then he's kind of gone 4, 7, 4, 5 for the batting positions. I know he's a floater for this side, but, Michael Vaughan and I have been talking at length that we feel that he's better off with a bit more time under his belt, and that batting up in that number 3 position and not necessarily coming in as late as he is. I know they're trying to create him and to make him that hitter like an Andre Russell or a Rovman Powell, but I actually still think he's probably better off batting longer, and you'll get not only 40 off 20, but you'll get 80 off 35 deliveries, 40 deliveries. He will be that explosive.
Interesting you should mention those two names, Lisa. I think, Shaun, if you were to compare Stoinis to those two West Indian giants, he probably would fit himself more as a Rovman Powell than an Andre Russell, Marcus Stoinis, given a choice.
I think he probably would, but he'd be better than that. I think he's the kind of guy who can just come in and play an innings. He has got the hit ability, and at the back end, once he's in, we've seen the damage he can do. But, he'll be quietly stewing about his performance so far this year with the bat, and he'll be desperately hoping to get the opportunity with enough overs, get to the crease, and really make a massive impact as the tournament goes on. So he's played well in the years gone by, and that's why he's been purchased by them. But when you get into a new franchise, you always want to put on a match-winning performance, 1 or 2, just to settle things down.
Yeah, remember, he was a nice early purchase. The two new franchises obviously didn't have the opportunity to retain anyone because they didn't have any players. They didn't exist in the past. But Stoinis was one of the players who came in at the very start of the season for Lucknow, along with KL Rahul. So obviously, be wanting to get into this stream of things. Another area, Lisa, if we were to maybe make a comparison, one of the reasons why Kolkata are where they are on the points table is the fact that their spinners haven't quite done the job in tandem. You wanted a Varun Chakravarti, Sunil Narayan combination. If they're doing well, Kolkata are always doing well. And that's probably the difference between the two sides.
Yeah, you'd say that Sunil Narayan has actually been bowling well. He's not picking up the wickets. We're starting to see opposition sit on him a little bit like they used to do with Rashid Khan. None for 24, 21, which is great economically, but it's the wickets that they're after. And Varun Chakravarti hasn't necessarily been able to recreate what he did last year. So, yeah, and as the competition has gone on, we're starting to see that the pitches are starting to turn a little bit and get a little bit more bite. So their spinners do need to step up. They need to find a way of picking up a few more wickets as well.
Yeah, I mean, that double strangle. There was one match where I think Varun Chakravarti did perform, and we talked about at the end of the game that, look at that, 8 overs of strangling versus 4 overs. So, Shaun, you can really afford to say that, listen, we'll play one Sunil Narayan out. You can't play 8 overs out. So that's where Kolkata were benefiting. For Lucknow, on the other hand, Bishnoi always performs. The bonus for them has been the leading spin wicket taker in Krunal Pandya.
Yeah, Pandya's come good, hasn't he? He's been a good purchase for them. And Bishnoi, I think he's settled into the IPL. He didn't start off great, too many loose deliveries from me, but he started to find his feet now and feeling a little bit more confident. But you're right about Kolkata. Not only is it the 8 overs, it's sometimes the partnership. You get 2 new guys at the crease and you go through 2 or 3 quick overs where they can't work it away or hit any big shots. And there all of a sudden the pressure's built and Kolkata can come to the fore. So it has been disappointing for them. And then obviously all the pressure is on Nareen again to try and bowl those miracle kind of deliveries, because it is the wickets column that tend to do the job for the spinners in particular.
Yeah, it certainly is. We'll just take a moment here to confirm that the match is over, bar the shouting, really, and the shouting involves just a solitary single for the formalities to be completed. But what could have been a finish like the Gujarat-Mumbai game has actually been finished off the way Gujarat should have finished it. It was 9 runs for Daniel Sams. It was 6 runs, or rather 7 runs, to be defended for the final over by Punjab. They were not able to do that, or the first.
You're assuming, yeah.
Yeah, well, with one to go of 5 deliveries,
I am a double hat trick or something. Come on, Gautam. You
Shimron
can't
had
go.
Lisa's the optimist.
Well,
you never
it's
know.
your horse.
Come on,
Lisa. It's your horse. It's the pink horse.
Yeah.
So
it is.
Anyway, the pink
ball.
horse is just dot ball. Yes, a dot ball. But we're just assuming that it will be done. But really, the
funny thing in chases though is when it gets down to it. And what you want off your last deliveries, you don't want them just to knock a single to win the game. This next one must go out the ground. That 5 runs can make a difference to your net run rate. You never know.
Another
so
dot.
Another dot.
Another dot. Oh dear. Hetmyer likes to do this. He just likes to have a bit of fun. It's the pink hair. It's a festive mode, and he just says, "You think I can't do it? Watch me." And
never mind the pink hair. He's giving Sangakkara grey hairs.
Yeah, he's already got quite a few. But yeah, lofted shot to mid-on for a single, and they get to the 190 that they required. Lisa, you were absolutely right. It was a run chase that was efficient, and I think more than anything else, what will please them is that it was not a Butler show, and it was not a bat first show. 2 aspects.
Yeah, a huge win for Rajasthan, given the situation that you're right. It's the first time that they've actually won chasing. The fact that Butler didn't fire, Yashasvi Jaiswal comes in, goes really big, which will please them to no end. Padikkal as well. I mean, 31 off 32, he did the job. But again, Shimron Hetmyer just providing the fireworks at the end. So things are starting to get back on track for Rajasthan after they lost a couple of games there in the middle.
Well, yeah, just for the record, I'm being told that apparently this victory for Rajasthan knocks Mumbai out. Now, honestly, it personally takes me by surprise.
What a shock.
Shaun, scenarios.com, weren't they out earlier?
You see, this is the problem with everything official, is you have to wait for there to be no mathematical sense before. Scenarios.com, we like to make calls. Like we like to qualify people at 16, and we like to say that Mumbai and Chennai are gone. And
They
we
were
like
gone
to
a long
say
time
that
ago.
and I'd like to say, in all honesty, Punjab, having lost that game, if we show the table, I think with the negative net run rate, they could be gone as well. So that could be a massive blow for them.
Yeah, it's
I know
the
it's talking
mathematics.
ahead of turn, but
It's
it's
the
all
official Q
likelihood.
or the official E.
Yes,
But yeah,
what you're
Rajasthan
looking for.
certainly for them will be delighted with the 2 points that they get, because that's going to really stand them in good stead. Lisa, these are 2 big points for them. They were always at the top half of the table. They want to cement that. They've been the team we've talked about from the auction at the start of the tournament. Now they need to actually go ahead and cement what was being talked about.
Yeah, they do, and it's now about them just focusing on what they can control. They don't want to get ahead of themselves. You don't want to start thinking of scenario.com. You just need to get through this first game and ensure that everyone knows their role and is able to execute. So that's the main thing that they need to focus on.
Shaun, big positives for Rajasthan coming out of this game, other than, of course, the obvious 2 points.
Yeah, there is. I think Jaswal's performance, that should settle it. I mean, do not touch the top of the order for the rest of the tournament. Leave it as it is. Spend a bit of time with Padikal, get him freed up in his own mind that, you know what, you're going to play at number 3 for the rest of the tournament. Don't worry about your place. You just go and express yourself a little bit more. And they've shown that they can win without a massive contribution from Butler. So the bowling department we've never been worried about. I think it comes into its own more and more as the surfaces start to wear. And even if they get through to Kolkata, we've seen pitches there over the years suit the spinners down to a T. So it's all looking like positive for them.
Yeah, Jaiswal stays. Who's the other bloke? Joss Butler. Move him down the order. Don't like him up there. There's the other solution. Dare you to do that. Well, yeah, that's it. Obviously the top order, Padikal was there towards the end. Jaiswal did the job for them. And as a result of that, the young man who's come back into the side, started the season, retained player, so many things were being talked about him. Then he goes out. Where is Yashasvi Jaiswal? He's around. He's ready to come back at the top of the order. And as a result, he also happens to be our Omnigel relief and recovery performer of the match. Omnigel, India's #1 pain recovery gel brand, not only gives quick relief, but also recovery from pain. What does that translate to? No dard for fans. Isn't that beautiful? There could have been a bit. I can tell you, Shaun, the dard was coming for fans of Gujarat yesterday with a run chase that should have been sealed. But Yashasvi Jaiswal made sure that all the fans in pink, and there are plenty of them, didn't feel any of the dard, the pain.
Yeah, I think just their fans would have been a little bit concerned at the back end. But just as a neutral, it looked like they were in full control. The worm kept getting flashed up on the screen and they were 10, 15, 20 ahead. It just looked like it should be a comfortable victory. I suppose Padikal maybe made it extend a little bit longer than what the fans of Rajasthan would have wanted. But it just looked calculated. It looked like they were in control.
But really, it was a start. I mean, we all know we're used to Joss Butler giving that kind of start, but the intent was shown with the man on strike. It was not Butler. He was at the non-strikers end, and he established it from the very first over to Yashasvi Jaiswal. I'm back, and I belong here. Sent a message other than got them over.
Yeah, it just shows you that the coaching staff and Sangakkara of Rajasthan would have been working, no doubt, with him in the nets and would have been talking about how they want him to play, how he needs to structure even the first over to come out and, almost stick his chest out and go, I'm here. Something like a Matthew Hayden, like try and boss it from ball one. Even if you're going to leave or punch or defend, make sure it's with purpose and intent. He must have been hitting the ball really well for them to go, right, we're going to throw him back in and we're going to open with him. But he has done the job. And I agree with Polly, don't change it anymore. Let's just keep it going. He's got near the 60-odd that they wanted one of their openers to do other than Butler, and he's been able to produce it.
And I think we could talk all about the technique. We've already seen that from him, Shaun. But just the temperament of a young man left out for that long, never mind where he bats. Obviously, they've given him that opening slot. But the fact that he could be out of the side, come back in, and still produce a performance like this says thing or two about his maturity.
Yeah, it does. It's not easy to start in a team and then get left out because of your performance, not because of injury. It creates a bit of a mental injury for you as you sit on the side. So it's the ability to come and bounce back. As you say, it doesn't matter how much people talk to you and how much net practice. You have to have the application to get out in the middle. And it didn't look like he was playing for his place. It actually just looked like he was trying to do the best job for the team possible. And he did exactly that.
Yep, absolutely. No mental pain, definitely no physical pain. And hence, Omnigel Relief and Recovery Performer of the match is Yashasvi Jaiswal. Not sure I agree entirely with Lisa about the Matthew Hayden comparison. No dud for fans. There would be a lot of dud if you bumped into Matthew Hayden. Not sure about Yashasvi Jaiswal. Lovely off the bat. The chest is a little smaller, Lisa.
Yeah, it's a bit smaller. He needs to get into the gym, but that's all right. He's young. He'll find his form in the gym and bulk up. But like I said, it can be just with your movement and intent.
Yeah, just look at me. I mean, even without going to the gym, I keep it going. Let's talk about the guys who have not been flexing their muscles as regularly before we finish off here. Punjab, it's getting to that stage, isn't it, Shaun? WL. They just need to get on a road somewhere, one road.
Yeah, they've got to string a few performances together. I mean, can we put up the updated log table, because you give a feeling of where they're at and how important that loss is. So there you see them, 11 matches, just 3 to go, and they're on 10 with a negative 2.31 run rate. They have to win all 3 games just to get to 16, and then they have to win one of them in the most unbelievable, convincing fashion to make sure that they get into the positive. So it really, the destiny isn't in their hands anymore, if you're totally honest with that. It's very much up to what other teams do.
Yeah, it's getting to that stage. I mean, we might have put an E next to Mumbai, but those E's will be hanging over the heads of many other teams over there, because it's going to come thick and fast at this stage of the tournament. You think the manner of the defeat will also impact them, because it's almost as if Rajasthan put up a bossing Punjab type performance to oust them.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of be able to chase down that total and do it with ease just shows that everything's ticking along nicely. They got off to an absolute flyer in the power play, thanks to both of their openers going. And even in those next phases, 7 runs, 9.6 and 10.68, they're really good numbers. And that's really important for a side who hasn't done it yet in the IPL. So they'd be very happy with that.
They certainly would be delighted with that. Once again, we can confirm that it is, in fact, Rajasthan who have got the crucial 2 points. Punjab, remember, had won the toss and decided to bat first on a hot afternoon at the Wankhede, but it wasn't to be. Maybe, even though they thought they'd put on enough runs on the board, 189 looked a decent score, but two opposite ends of the table. Quick look at... Well, we've seen the points table enough time. We won't look at that anymore right now, because we can again give you a reminder of what's happening in the second game. Busy Saturday, isn't it? Kolkata winning the toss. They've asked Lucknow to bat first. All hopes on KL Rahul and Quinton de Kock. That's assuming they survived the first over, which I can tell you I'm not sure they have. But let's get a quick prediction for the score with a little sneak peek of the fact that I suspect they may have lost a wicket already in the very first over in the most unfortunate way possible, a run out. Lisa, how many can Lucknow get?
Lucknow. I've got a number more minions here. I won't ask them because they sold me up the river last time. So I'm going to say 169.
Yeah, 169. I can confirm it's their captain who's back in the pavilion. So does that change your prediction at all? 100 scorer?
No, I think it'll be a bit of a struggle. I mean, 169 I think is probably about par. I'm not quite sure if it is, but it feels like it might be.
Shaun, you're going for 177?
I'm going for 177. It's got to come good for me.
Boring.
177. No, I mean, I've got to. I can't say my heart might be in a particular city, because both these teams have a Kolkata connection. So which one of them, the purple Kolkata or the turquoise Kolkata? For those of you who don't know, it's the ownership for Lucknow. But I'm going to stick to a lower total than that. Something about Saudi up front, even though they don't have Umesh Yadav, they're going to keep them down to 150. There you go. Going low, very low, 150. Come on, we've got to get crucial points for Kolkata. There's too many E's. It's like a little fly buzzing over your head. Now, Shaun Pollock is handing out Q's. We're handing out E's. All sorts of things are happening here at this end of the tournament. We'll see you in 10 overs time on Cricbuzz Combox. And of course, we're going to wrap up both the matches at the end. Rajasthan with 2 points. Kolkata desperate for 2 points. We'll see you soon. This is Cricbuzz Live.